All right, so where we're talking about cancer, so the three things that cancer cells do or don't do that normal cells, don't have those properties. So cancer cells have no contact inhibition. So they keep growing, making that tumor. They divide indefinitely. They don't stop. They don't stop growing. They just keep growing. And then they reduce their stickiness. So that's the idea of metastasis. So they can leave. So those are very dangerous things. If we look, excuse me. So here is a really horrible picture, honestly. Metastasis or metastasis, it metastasizes, but metastasis, cancer cells shown here in white. So if you look, all these white things, they're cancer cells, can separate from a tumor and spread throughout the body via the circulatory system. So that's the idea, when someone loses a lot of weight, etc., and then it's really hard to get rid of those cells. So that's why early detection is so important, okay? The earlier those cells are detected, the more likely they could take those cells out of the body. And if they take those cells out of the body, then they can get rid of the cancer, okay? So they talk about stages in cancer, like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Stage 1 would be right in the beginning. So early detection is key. Okay. How do we treat cancer? So cut it out. Can irradiate it, radiation for that area. And then there's chemotherapy, right? And the idea behind chemotherapy, let's say they don't know where all cancer cells went, or if they went, then they might give chemotherapy, which is toxic. Chemotherapy is a toxin. And it attacks rapidly growing cells, okay? So for example, that's why when someone's on chemotherapy, they can lose hair, they might have vomiting and diarrhea. It wreaks havoc on fast-growing cells, okay? Replicating cells, so skin, hair, etc. But the idea is, if any cells got away, then hopefully that chemotherapy gets them and kills them. And so someone's not cancer-free. They talk about cancer in stages. They're not cancer-free until I think after the 5th year, right? And then they can say they got rid of their cancer. So, right here it shows how the tumor cells can leave, right? So that metastasizes. Here's chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is horrible. Sometimes people say what's worse, the disease or the treatment. It depends, yeah. Different types of cancers grow differently. They talk about some are more aggressive than others. There are some certain types of cancers that grow so slow that someone's going to die from something else. But there are some cancers that are very aggressive. The word they use is aggressive. And that means that they got to treat it. And the prognosis of living is not very good, depending on what stage the person's in. So cancer is an ugly topic, yeah. But again, it's a problem with cell growth and the cells growing too much. And it hits a lot of people in our population. So being educated is a good thing. All right. Now shifting gears to meiosis. Okay, so mitosis. Parent cell divides, makes 2 daughter cells that are identical to each other, identical to the parent. Okay, now shift gears to meiosis, okay? Meiosis only happens in one place in the body, in the sex organs. The sex organs are also known as the gonads. So the ovaries in females, the testes in males. And the end result are the sex cells, or also known as the gametes. So in women, we're talking about eggs. And this is a real picture, you guys. It's kind of cool. Eggs are huge, right? In men, it's sperm. Meow. There's the sperm, pretty small, okay? There's the head and the tail. The head has the DNA from the father, and the tail is just moving it along, okay? And here's the egg. So a lot of the organelles you got from your mom, okay? So it says meiosis generates sperm and egg and a great deal of variation. Okay, so now, how is meiosis different than mitosis? Okay. It says overview of sexual reproduction requires special cells made by meiosis. So gametes, okay, those are the sex cells. Diploid, okay, all of us are diploid, meaning we got one set of instructions from one parent, one set from another. Di means two, so diploid. Now, when we go to making our sex cells, we half the chromosome number, and that's called haploid. So the egg has half the chromosome number, the sperm has half the chromosome number, and if they unite, that's called fertilization, then we're back to diploid. So this is a pretty important picture because it shows, a human's life cycle. So if, you're female, right, you're diploid. You got 23 chromosomes from your mom, 23 chromosomes from your dad, you're diploid. 23 chromosomes, 46 total. If you're a man, same thing, you're diploid. You got 23 chromosomes from one parent, 23 from the other. Okay, fine, okay? Now, only in the gonads, meiosis occurs, where her eggs are going to be haploid. They have half the chromosome number. Now, which chromosomes? Chromosomes from her mom or chromosomes from her dad? Chromosome 1 from her mom or chromosome number 1 from her dad? What ends up in the egg? That is random. That's what meiosis is all about. Same thing here. He's diploid. He got half his chromosomes from one parent, half from the other. When he goes to making sperm, what ends up in there? Is it the one from number 1 from his dad or number 1 from his mom? Again, that's what meiosis is all about. So that's kind of really fun, right? Then if and only if the sex cells get together, and that's known as fertilization, now we're back to diploid, where the cell, what a crazy thought, we all started as a single cell, and it has, it's diploid. You get one set. Think of them as like instruction manuals. You get one set of instruction manuals from your mom. You get one set of instruction manuals from your dad. And it's like building a wall. You got information for building a wall or building eyes. From your mom, you get a set from your dad. Blood type, get information from your mom, get information from your dad, da, 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 da. Now this thing, we all started as a cell. Again, it's really quite amazing. We're diploid. And then this thing will divide through mitosis. Remember, growth and repair. Divide through mitosis to make a baby, okay? And then the life cycle goes back again. It's kind of really neat, right? So this is kind of the human life cycle. And again, we will be talking about that. And truly, if you understand meiosis, then genetics is not that tough because this is like the basis for genetics, right? So meiosis achieves more than just a reduction in genetic material. Okay, you have 2 copies, right? Oh, who are these people? Right, who are Kennedys? Yes, they're brothers, okay, from the same mom and dad. Look at them. How similar they are, yet how different, yeah? And result of meiosis, how the mom made her eggs, the dad made his sperm, and which egg and which sperm got together made, John F. Kennedy. And then here are his brothers, right? So meiosis has 2 important outcomes. Reduces the genetic material. We go from diploid to haploid. That's one thing. The other thing, though, is it produces gametes that all differ from each other, okay, in the combination of alleles. If you remember, alleles were the different versions of the genes. So again, the egg, is it going to have chromosome 1 from her mom or chromosome 1 from her dad? That's random. Chromosome 2 from her mom, chromosome 2 from her dad, again, random. So, yes. meiosis is the process by which reproductive cells are produced and sexually reproduced in organisms. It results in gametes. Gametes are the sex cells that have only half as much genetic material as the parent cell, and they differ. So every egg is different from one another. Every sperm is different from one another. All right, so sperm and egg, meiosis. Okay, so where does it happen? Again, only in the gonads. Yes, we're going to have G1, S, G2, just like mitosis, okay? So let's pretend we're making eggs before they replicate. Okay, there's G1, S, G2. So in the S phase, if you remember, that was DNA synthesis. So that happens here too, and then here are the sister chromatids. And then, right? But what's different is meiosis. There are two cell divisions of meiosis. There's going to be meiosis, well, my pointer, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, right? Meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So I'd like to look at the overall picture because, again, an overall picture is really helpful. Here's the overall picture of meiosis. So here's the parent cell. Imagine it went through interphase. It went through G1, S, G2. Now it's time to divide the cell. So the chromosomes, there's prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. That sounds very much like mitosis, yes, but there are some differences. So here's one cell division. But hey, hang on, we're not done yet. There's going to be another cell division. Prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase, telophase. So the end of meiosis, okay, we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4. We end up with 4 cells, okay, yeah. And they're haploid. They have half the chromosome number that the first original parent cell had, okay? And they are not identical, okay? So it creates genetic recombination. There are new, not new genes, but new combination of the genes, okay? So major things are happening. And so that's the overview, okay? So there are similarities to mitosis, but there are differences. Okay, so now let's go back. Okay, so meiosis 1, division 1. This prophase 1 is incredibly important, really, okay? This one you got to pay attention to. The rest are pretty simple. Okay, so what happens? In meiosis 1, prophase 1. The homologous chromosomes, okay, that means the chromosome 1 from her mom, chromosome 1 from her dad. Let's say we're talking about a woman and she's going to make eggs, okay? She had half chromosomes from her mom, half chromosomes from her dad. So in her ovaries, in meiosis 1, her chromosome 1 from her dad, chromosome 1 from her mom get together. They're the homologous chromosomes. Chromosome 2 from her mom, chromosome 2 from her dad get together. Chromosome 3, blah, blah, blah. So here, prophase 1, homologous pairs come together. And then something else happens. There's crossing over. They literally swap chromosome number 1 from her dad and chromosome number 1 from her mom. They swap genetic material. Yes. And it's totally random, right? And it happens with the different chromosomes. So prophase 1 in meiosis 1 is really important. That crossing over happens with the homologous chromosomes. Then the rest is very similar to mitosis, but with some differences. Okay, so metaphase, middle, the chromosomes line up in the middle, but it's the homologous chromosomes that line up in the middle. Anaphase 1, it's the homologous chromosomes, not the sister chromatids, the homologous chromosomes that get separated. And then telophase, you get 2 new cells, okay? Then there is no DNA replication between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, and meiosis 2 is just like mitosis, right? Prophase 2, metaphase 2, right? The chromosomes line up in the middle. Then anaphase, it's the sister chromatids that separate. And then telophase. Now we have 4 daughter cells. So we're going to do this in the lab. We're going to practice this in the lab. It really helps to look at videos. So I'm going to have some videos up too.